Set in a different world story, a candy shooter from the electric world, skilled in shooting candy with toy guns, likes to eat fruit candies, and is an ordinary girl who wants to make friends with heroes from the electric world. Chapter 1. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Saying this world is a beautiful world, called the electric world. There are some beings in this world. Yes, this world needs heroes. She is the candy shooter of the electric world, self-proclaimed, but in fact, she is just an ordinary female high school student, already an adult, from Class C, Grade 2, Hanyan Middle School in Tianfu City. There is a handsome boy in the class named Zhou Yun. She always goes to watch Zhou Yun play basketball, but Zhou Yun always falls while playing basketball. Ah, he's so handsome even when he falls. She just loves chasing after movies. After writing the love letter, she mustered up the courage to invite Chasing Shadow to school and handed over the initial love letter. Chasing Shadow classmate, I like you, please date me. No problem, Chasing Shadow gave her a thumbs up. Really? I'm so happy. She was very happy, her heart was beating fast, and then she had a heart attack and died. Once again waking up from the hospital bed, she saw Chasing Shadow guarding the bedside and said, Chasing Shadow classmate, I remember me. I'm already dead. Actually, I am one of the mysterious people of a mysterious organization, and saving lives and helping the wounded is our duty, probably. Anyway, I saved you with the energy core donated by a deceased hero. Wow, that hero must be great. Yes, so you must inherit everything from him, become a new hero, inherit his will, become a new hero, and become the new Li Xiaoyu. Chasing Shadow pointed at her and said, from today on, you are the new Li Xiaoyu. Let's defend world peace together. Ah. The girl was surprised and said, okay. In the afternoon of that day, Zhou Yun completed the discharge procedures for Xiaoyu and the two ran out of the hospital. Follow up. Next, we will meet with the people from the organization to introduce you at the meeting. Wow, can we make new friends? I'm so happy. The little fish ran slower and couldn't keep up with the speed of Chasing Shadows. You're too slow, I'll help you. Wow, is it the princess holding you? Looking forward. The little fish looked forward. And the pursuit directly transformed into a wolf carrying a small fish and running wildly all the way. Wow, so fast, duck. Roaming duck. The pursuit was also influenced by the little fish. Then, the organization held a meeting and enthusiastically introduced to the heroic members of the organization, saying, hello everyone, today I would like to introduce the new little fish of our organization. Let's give it a round of applause. There was a dead silence below, and the heroes looked listlessly at the stage. Long Wujie said, why do you have to come to the drama club to talk about things? Guang Guang. Isn't that good too? The two young girls below whispered to each other. Xiaoyu's self-introduction. Well, I'm the new Xiaoyu. Please take care of me and by the way, I like to eat fruit hard candy. If anyone loves fruit hard candy as much as me, can we be friends? There was a dead silence below the stage. Okay, that's all for my self-introduction. Thank you all for coming. Xiaoyu and I will leave first, and then we'll run away. Chasing Shadow once again turned into a wolf carrying a young girl named Xiaoyu and ran out of the drama club. Is that guy playing with us again? Treating us like idiots. Long Wujie felt a little unhappy. Isn't it good too? Xuanguang smiled. This is not good at all, okay. Long Wujie looked at the dazzling light as silly as ever. In the afternoon, Chasing Shadow was playing basketball on the playground and was knocked down several times by his opponent. Foul, Ni Meng can't hit anyone. Little Fish watched anxiously. Idiot, this is street basketball. Long Wujie sneered. Yes, it's irregular, I'll hit it. Xian Guang laughed heartily along with Long Wujie, unable to resist hitting him. Long Wujie was knocked out and got up angrily. Don't hit your teammates, idiot. Hey hee hee, I'm sorry, Xuanguang laughed heartily, without any reflection. Then, Chasing Shadow and Xiaoyu watched as Xian Guang and Long Wujie played basketball. Chasing Shadow. By the way, because you now have a hero core, you have superpowers. Super ability. Wow, it's so amazing. What can superpowers do? Little Fish wondered, what can I do? I guess I can make my body float. Probably. Chasing Shadow activated its ability to make myself float, but it turned into a wolf. Ha ha ha, you've become furry again. After chasing shadows, the little fish couldn't help but laugh. I always feel like something's wrong, said Wolf Form Chaser, indicating that he is still not very proficient in using superpowers. Then I'll try my superpowers too. The little fish also wanted to give it a try. Just imagine yourself floating up like that, reminded the pursuer. Imagine yourself floating. The little fish tried to imagine, candy. Then a floating candy appeared next to the little fish. As he looked at it, he was very happy and said, "Wow, it's my favorite fruit candy." Ah! Shocked by the pursuit, how did you do this? Just imagine. Asked the question mark of the black man chasing after him. Xiaoyu, look at Xuanguang and Long Wujie over there. The two of them stopped playing basketball and laughed heartily as they watched the pursuer who had turned into a wolf and the small fish floating around with fruit candy. Long Wujie said, "Ha ha ha, are you here to be funny? Where did you come from? It's a joke beyond time, Xian Guang said, "Yeah, ha ha ha, I can't laugh anymore." "I always feel like you're laughing too exaggerated," said the wolf-like pursuer, speechless. "Don't laugh at me." The little fish was a bit angry, and with a thought, 2 fruit candies flew into Xuanguang and Long Wujie's mouth. The two of them were eating candy and feeling surprisingly good. "It's delicious." "Yeah. You also think fruit candy is great, right? From now on, please call me Candy Sagittarius." The little fish ran over, his hands on his hips proud. But wouldn't simply calling it Candy Sagittarius clash with other names? Long Wujie thought for a moment and said, "Our world is called the Electric World. He's the candy shooter of the Electric World. Xian Guang thinks it's good." Little fish received title. Candy Sagittarius of the Electric World. Wow, that's great. The little fish transformed into a wooden stick and threw it out. "Pick it up." Chasing Shadow quickly ran over to pick up a wooden stick and ran back. Long Wujie said, "It feels so subtle." "Guang Guang. Isn't that good too?" "Ha." Long Wujie had nothing to say, speechless. After school that day, he was chasing a wolf-like figure while carrying a small fish for a ride, but ended up tripping over a rope on the way. Yes. A beautiful girl wearing a purple T-shirt and black short skirt jumped out and said, the prank was successful. Chasing Shadow and Little Fish got up from the ground and gestured as they watched the beautiful girl emitting purple electric light all over her body. Xiaoyu. Who is the one coming? Follow up. Report your name. You don't need to do this, at least everyone is organized together. Okay, introduce yourself, I am Zhou Yun. The beautiful girl introduced herself, and her name turned out to be Zhou Yun. Follow up. Do you know each other? Xiaoyu. I don't know, do you know? I don't know either. Zhu Ying said she doesn't know. Since we don't know each other, let's continue to take a ride. The little fish jumped onto the back of the wolf-like pursuer, rushing towards the duck. Chasing Shadow carried the small fish and ran quickly, continuing the ride. Don't ignore me. Zhou Yun shouted from behind and reached out, his voice getting farther and farther away. Unfinished to be continued. Chapter 2. Fruit Hard Candy. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. The little fish rode in wolf form chasing shadows for a ride. Zhou Yun. Roast the duck. Follow up. Roaming duck. Even for a simple ride, both of them were very happy. Long Wujie said, "Stop the girl who is speeding and riding a wolf over there." Dazzling. Stop. Xuanguang and Long Wujie stopped chasing Shadow and Zhou Yun. The pursuit stopped, and the little fish rolled and fell to the ground, transforming into a wooden stick and throwing it out. Pick it up. Chasing Shadow quickly ran over to pick up a wooden stick and ran back. Long Wujie said, "It feels so subtle." Guang. Isn't that good too? I can't roast. Long Wujie has nothing to say. Do you want to eat candy? Little fish transformed into a fruit candy and handed it to Guang and Long Wujie. Thank you. The two reached out to grab it, but were dodged by the little fish. Xuanguang and Long Wujie were puzzled, while the little fish jumped out and threw out 2 fruit candies. Please call me Candy Shooter. Xuanguang and Long Wujie opened their mouths and caught the fruit candy, while giving a thumbs up. That's really nice. Are you simply asking for candy when you stop us? You are such a cute guy, you are. Little fish poked Xuanguang and Long Wujie's arm with his elbow and smiled. No, we're like, what were we saying? Long Wujie almost forgot and looked at Guangguang. We're missing one person playing games, said the dazzling light. Right, we lack one person in the game, so naturally we need. Long Wujie pointed between chasing Shadow and Zhou Yun, and was about to stop in front of chasing Shadow. Chasing the Shadow proudly raised his head. And the little fish transformed and threw out a wooden stick, saying, "Pick it up." Chasing Shadow quickly ran over to pick up the wooden stick. And Zhou Yun seized the opportunity to hold Long Wujie's hand and said, I am the most suitable. I'll show off the whole scene alone. Oh. That's you. Long Wujie chose Zhou Yun. Just you. Xuanguang also agreed. On that day, the 5 players playing the game, Zhou Yun, were constantly killed, and the screen was mostly black and white. And Guang and Long Wujie are the back row mages, while the other 2 teammates are 2 front rows, 1 warrior and 1 assassin. Zhou Yun looked at the 2 girls with cat's ears, steamed cat-ear-shaped bread, very cute. Who are they? Little fish and others asked the wolf-shaped pursuer next to them during their boring resurrection time. That white cat is called Wujie and is good at playing warrior characters. That black cat is Qingsha and is good at playing assassin characters. Chasing Shadow said, the 4 of them have excellent gaming skills. At the end of one game, the 4 of them lay down with the little fish to win, and then confirmed their position. Warrior position 1, assassin position 2. Long Wujie reminded. Control position 3 and output position 4. Qingsha reminded. Open another round, the little fish is killed again and waiting to be resurrected. Not long after being resurrected, they are killed again, and the screen is in a black and white state for a long time. I'm completely a soft persimmon. Little fish always felt like he was being targeted by the other person because it was too easy to bully. But Long Wujie and the 4 of them can easily take flying fish. Charge up and hold on to position 1, keep up with position 2. Long Wujie reminded. Hold position 3, output from position 4 keeps up. Qingsha reminded. The 4 of them had a clear goal, and the 1234 long snake formation was methodically dealing with their opponents, quickly winning the team battle. Winning. Wu Ai and Qingsha applauded, while Guang and Long Wujie applauded, while Zhou Yun was completely forgotten. The claw of the pursuer rested on her lap and said, "We won." Well, yes, we won. The little fish was very happy and rubbed the dog's head chasing the shadow angrily. As a result, Xiaoyu became the team mascot and was led by Long Wujie and the four of them lying down to win several games. The little fish has completely become a salted fish that can only shout 666 on one side. The so-called mixed teammate in the game is probably the situation of Xiaoyu. That night, Chasing Shadow urged Xiaoyu to go home, but Xiaoyu pulled Chasing Shadow and kept him for dinner. After dinner, the pursuer looked at the instant noodles in a daze and said, "What's inside this instant noodles?" "It's fruit hard candy." "What sugar?" "Fruit hard candy." "What about fruits?" "The fruit is hard candy." The little fish thought it was no problem. This is what dark cuisine. Shadow roast weekly. Why don't you eat, Chasing Shadow? Do you want someone to feed you? You are such a cute guy. The little fish poked Chasing Shadow's arm and smiled. No, 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 no. Chasing the shadows, I was forced to feed instant noodles with a smile from Zhou Yun, and braised beef noodles with a taste of fruit and hard candy. I should probably go now. After dinner, Chasing Shadow planned to go home. So, Shadow Chaser, can you coax me to sleep? How to coax? Chasing Shadow didn't quite understand. A bedtime story. Oh, I can. Chasing Shadow nodded repeatedly, confident that he would tell bedtime stories. That night, the little fish lying in bed listened to the Chasing Shadows and told stories. Chasing Shadows, sitting by the bed, solemnly tells a story. Once upon a time, there was a mountain, and there was a temple on the mountain. In the temple. Hey! I've heard that story before. The little fish was not satisfied with this story. No, little fish, you still have a broken pattern. Let me tell you more. Chasing Shadow continued with a mysterious expression. There used to be a mountain, a temple on the mountain, and a little monk in the temple. Where's the old monk? Little fish wondered. Cough cough, the old monk has gone to the west to seek scriptures. Chasing Shadow casually made up an excuse and continued, there used to be a mountain, a temple on the mountain, and a little monk in the temple. The little monk was weak and sickly from a young age, and because he was weak, no one was willing to play with him. The little monk is really pitiful. Is there anyone on the mountain to play with him? The little fish was curious. Ghost, okay, there's no ghost willing to play with him. Chasing Shadow began to fabricate and run the train with his mouth full. As for the young monk, he was weak and no one willing to play with him. It wasn't until the first snowfall. Is it the first snow of 2002? Curious, Xiaoyu opened his phone and played music. The first snow of 2002. No. Chasing Shadow crazy, unable to bear Xiaoyu's constant interruptions, he grabbed Xiaoyu's phone, turned off the music, told her phone, and continued telling her a story. Because of that snow, he made a little snowman. That's great, but why didn't you build a big snowman? Is it because the little monk's body is too weak? Chasing the Shadow felt that Xiaoyu was really cunning in his angle. Overall, in short, the little monk built a snowman and then he asked the snowman. He asked, "Can I hug you?" The little snowman asked back, "Why?" He said, "Because I like you." The little snowman silently plunged into his embrace. The next second, he heard the little snowman whispering in his ear, "I've traveled through the 4 seasons just to melt in your arms. Thank you for liking me." "What a beautiful story," said the little fish with a hopeful expression on his face. "That's right." Chasing Shadow nodded slightly and then gave a bad laugh. The next day, the little monk died of a bad cold. Hey! The little fish was stunned on the spot, and it took several seconds to react. In anger, he threw a pillow and chased after the shadow. "Good night, little fish," said Chasing Shadow, laughing as she quickly escaped from little fish's room and ran outside, knocking on a door. She slowed down and turned her head slowly, unfinished to be continued. Chapter 3 Chasing Shadows. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. At Hanyan Middle School, Chasing Shadow is playing basketball, while the cheerleader on one side dresses up to cheer for Zhou Yun. The little fish's encouragement filled Chasing Shadow with confidence, and it resolutely charged towards Xian Guang and Long Wujie. Then he was knocked away by the combined force of those two people. Foul! Foul! Ni Meng can't hit anyone. Zhou Yun protested loudly. Idiot, this is street basketball. Long Wujie continued to mock. Yes, it's irregular, I'll hit it. Xian Guang laughed heartily along with Long Wujie, unable to resist hitting him. Long Wujie was knocked out and got up angrily. Don't hit your teammates, idiot. Hey hee, I'm sorry, Xuanguang laughed heartily, without any reflection. That evening, Zhou Yun cooked 2 bowls of noodles. Although it's not instant noodles. Chasing Shadow looked into the bowl, with fruit candy on top of chili oil. What kind of terrifying combination is this? You really like fruit candy, right? Come on, follow up and eat this bowl of longevity noodles. Zhou Yun smiled. Isn't this just hanging noodles? It's longevity noodles. It's just noodles. It's a longevity noodles. Little fish Hashan's eyes. I was so scared that I had to eat noodles honestly. Oh no, longevity noodles, good child. The little fish smiled and touched the head of the pursuer. I should probably go now. After dinner, Chasing Shadow planned to go home. That, shadow chasing classmate, can you coax me to sleep? It's just like last night. Oh, bedtime stories, I can do it. Chasing nodded repeatedly, confident that he knew how to tell bedtime stories. That night, the little fish lying in bed listened to the Chasing Shadows and told stories. Sitting by the bedside, Chasing Shadow solemnly tells a story. I have a friend. Chasing classmates, isn't that friend you're talking about yourself? Little fish guessed. No, little fish, you still have a broken design. Let me talk about it. Chasing Shadow continued with a mysterious expression on his face. I have a friend named Wang Genji, he's going to his father.in.law's house for the first time. The father.in.law warmly greeted, you are the foundation, right? Chasing Shadow suppressed a smile, while Zhou Yun looked bewildered. Chasing Shadow was puzzled and continued to speak. Then my mother.in.law glanced at the old man and said, what kind of thing are you calling? Let's call it Xiaoji. Chasing Shadow almost couldn't help but laugh, while Zhou Yun still had a bewildered expression on his face. Chasing Shadow was even more puzzled and continued to speak. At this moment, my friend said with a black line on his face, call me Xiao Wang. Puhaha, isn't it really funny? Chasing Shadow couldn't help but laugh. But Zhou Yun still looked puzzled and said, do you think it's funny? Little fish still doesn't know what Chasing Shadow is laughing at. Can't you really understand this joke? Chasing Shadow was puzzled. Is this a joke? Little fish had no idea where it was funny. Where is it funny? Zhou Yun, you're still too pure. Chasing Shadow stood up, that's all for tonight's story. I'll go back. Chasing Shadow helped Zhou Yun close the door and left Zhou Yun's house. That night, Chasing Shadow fell asleep on the sofa at home. Brother, wake up. Wake up quickly. The girl woke up and chased after her. What's wrong? Chasing Shadow opened her eyes and found that it was her younger sister chasing the rain. You should take sleeping pills now. Aren't you experiencing insomnia recently? You. Yes, I do have insomnia now. Chasing Shadow said in silence. The next day, at Hanyan Middle School, Chasing Shadow saw Zhou Yun, but today's Zhou Yun was a bit different. She usually wears cute sailor suits, but today she is wearing a black men's suit, a red tie, and glasses. Her overall temperament is not as sunny and cheerful as usual, but with a melancholic and sorrowful look in her eyes. That, little fish. Are you a little fish? Chasing past, she asked a little incredulously. How dare you call my master by his name and chase after him? It's been a while since I last saw him. This is your subordinate's attitude towards my superior. It's not good, I need to punish him. The little fish clenched his fist, as if slowly accumulating energy. However, in an instant of 0.3 seconds, the chase was directly thrown several meters away by the little fish with a punch. It feels like you're the first generation. We all thought you were dead. Dead. Oh, you mean at the end of Fate's end, I was burned up in the final battle with Fate, and the ashes were extinguished, right? The little fish sneered as he walked up to the fallen pursuer. I may be a ghost now, and my soul will never leave. The battle between me and Fate will continue until the end of time and space, until the end of the world approaches and the universe collapses. What's wrong with the little fish now, master? Are you talking about the soul of this girl's body? Oh, she said you're her boyfriend, right? It's really surprising that you can have such a cute and outgoing girlfriend like this, The little fish reached out and chased after her. Don't worry, I don't have much time left. I just occasionally come back to see everyone. Your girlfriend's soul is only temporarily dormant, hibernating, so don't worry, you should treat her well. Yes, master. Chasing Shadow nodded respectfully. Speaking of which, master, why did you suddenly come back? Everyone in the organization actually misses you very much. When you are not here, everything in the organization becomes very bad. Did it get really bad? I think you guys are quite happy, said the little fish as he walked leisurely. I don't have much time left. Come with me, let's go see Lord Asato's. Leaving Hanyan Middle School, Zhou Yun leads his pursuer to the abandoned urban area, which is a world area that only members of the organization can enter. Chasing shadows, do you think justice is really justice? On the way, the little fish asked Chasing Shadows. I don't understand, master. Chasing Shadow didn't consider these things. He only knows how to play basketball and often falls while playing. The person who slaughtered the dragon eventually became a vicious dragon, violating the original intention and upholding justice in name only. The little fish reminded him with an inscrutable expression. May I ask, master, what do you know? Is a catastrophe happening again? Also. Chasing shadows, when did you have the illusion that the catastrophe had ended? The little fish sneered, you are too naive. So, what exactly is? I hope the master can give me some guidance. Chasing Shadow always felt that the master was very intelligent, but he didn't quite understand those complex things. Guidance. I'm a fool, I don't understand anything, ha ha ha. Little Fish Pie smiled coldly and chased after her. Yes, little fish, you finally understand the benefits of being a fool. Like a flash of black mist, a young girl in a black sailor uniform appeared next to the little fish. She was Asato's. 3 people are sitting on the ruins of an abandoned urban area. The first-generation little fish was the boss of the organization and was respected and subservient to all members of the organization. The first generation of little fish was a great hero who unified the world and enabled the realization and maintenance of the Great Harmony world. The first generation of little fish has been fighting against fate, but in the final battle with fate, it burns to ashes. It is said that he is a fist that burns out his life and fiercely hits fate's face. Chasing Shadows is one of Xiaoyu's many subordinates. And Asato's is one of the Star Abyss gods respected by little fish. Asato's, the primordial god of the Star Abyss faction. The 3 of them looked at the scenery of the abandoned city, and Asato's played tarot cards and drew a card. Me, Asato's, fool. Then, Asato's drew another card. Little fish, chariot, eternal reverse. chasing curiously, and what about me? Asatos laughed and said, I don't know, because I'm a fool. Yes, I'm also a fool. Zhou Yu's long-term relationship with Asatos has led her to also like to call herself a fool. Asatos and Little Fish clapped their hands, and the two of them became more and more in sync. Follow up. What are we doing, Master? I have something to ask Zhou Yun and Chasing Rain to come to the Qingsha temple. Zhou Yu dialed the phone to contact Zhou Yun, gesturing for Chasing Shadow to contact Chasing Rain. Chasing the shadows and understanding the essence, dial the phone to contact Chasing Rain. Unfinished to be continued. Chapter 4. Little Fish. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. In the abandoned urban area, Zhou Yu contacted Zhou Yun, while Zhu Ying contacted Zhu Yu. In the Qingsha temple, the three waited for Zhou Yun and Zhu Yu, and the 5-person meeting began. Zhou Yun, you are now the carrier of fate, aren't you? And you are the kind of fate itself. Little Fish didn't say anything. Zhou Yun glanced at the little fish and then at Asatos, saying, Indeed. Sometimes I really don't know what to say. Chase Rain, do you know why I called you here? I don't know. Chasing Rain looked at this girl's temperament and that of the first generation of Zhou Yu. Although the first generation of Zhou Yu was male, this generation of Zhou Yu is female, but her temperament seems to be. Chasing Rain whispered to Chasing Shadow, Brother, why is this little fish so similar in temperament to the first generation? Aren't you saying she's just your girlfriend? The soul inside this body is the first generation. My girlfriend's soul is sleeping inside the body, Chasing Shadow replied softly. I heard it all, the little fish helped his forehead. You two siblings, listen to me carefully. I don't have much time left. Yes, Master. Chasing Shadow and Chasing Rain were good friends with the first generation when they were still alive, so now they don't actually resist this situation. Zhou Yu, are you using a corpse to resurrect yourself? It's like a 100-legged insect dying without stiffening. Zhou Yun felt that way. This tone, at least for now, fate dominates this body. Zhou Yun, let me say I have no objection to Zhou Yun, but fate is just a bastard, isn't it? Zhou Yu mercilessly cursed fate. Are you just jealous that I didn't choose you, little fish? Fate covered his mouth and laughed, mocking little fish. Never mind, it's useless to reason with fate. You're just a bastard who does whatever you want based on your own legal power. Fate, you petty-minded person, is really shameless. Little fish despises fate. Are you saying grapes are sour when you can't eat them, cut them? Fate mocked little fish, I just hate you, I just hope you die or live a life that's not as good as death, little fish. From childhood to adulthood, fate was full of malice towards the little fish. The little fish could be said to have been tormented by fate to the point where life was more difficult than death. In the end, the little fish burned his life with all his might and punched fate heavily in the face. Fate, feel my anger. Due to a series of plans by the organization and the layout of Zhou Yu, the starting line of the plan is based on Zhou Yu's death line. Therefore, after Zhou Yu's death, the organization uses the Star Abyss spell to lock the law of fate into the body of Zhou Yun. Although fate can still cause trouble, now every time she causes trouble, she will be cleared by the organization and suffer the necessary physical pain. It can be said that Zhou Yu has no last resort. Even after his death, he has ruined fate several times, making fate even more resentful. Zhou Yu's teeth itch and he says, Damn Zhou Yu, even when people are dead, why are you using all kinds of last resort to plot against me? That's why I hate this kind of guy. The fate of being aloof and omnipotent, after being calculated by mortals, can be said to be very unpleasant. Even my invisible body was directly locked in this shell cage by the organization using the Star Abyss spell. The omnipotent fate is locked within this small body, the little fish mocked fate. Li Zhou Yu. You. Fate slammed the table and clenched his angry fist. Do you know that I'm all angry? It's not enough, my anger is 100 times, 1,000 times, 1,000 times that of you, Fate. The little fish hated Fate. Asatos reminded, little fish, you have something important to say, aren't you here to argue? Oh, yes. The little fish took a deep breath and said, in short, there is a sample here. I am a detested person abandoned by fate, and misfortune accompanies me for life until death. Chasing the rain, you are the one favored by fate, and good luck accompanies you for life until death. Hey. Me. Chasing Rain couldn't believe it. Chasing Rain, one of the many heroes in the organization, is an ordinary hero, but he has been blessed by fate. Are you joking, Master? Chasing Rain couldn't believe it. I have experienced the malice of fate countless times. The little fish understood, so I can keenly sense the situation of those who are favored by fate. Chasing the Rain, you succeed in everything you do, don't you? Do you think that's really your ability? It's like a sailing ship sailing smoothly. In contrast, Xiaoyu has been suffering from the malice of fate, and life is as difficult as sailing against the current. It is simply a case of repeated defeats and defeats. Xiaoyu has truly fought against fate for a lifetime until death arrives. Fortunately, before he died, he punched fate's face hard, which was considered satisfying. So what do you want to say, Master? Chasing Shadow looked bewildered. He was a rough person and didn't understand complex problems. He could almost only play basketball, and his basketball skills were also very talented. The greater the ability, the greater the responsibility. Chasing Rain, you have been blessed by fate, and you should have. But what have you done? What have you achieved? You haven't done anything. Little Fish always felt that Chasing Rain is not worthy of fate's favor. Wait a moment, as fate itself, I have something to say. I favor Chasing Rain in the hope of Chasing Rain's happiness, and there is no need for Chasing Rain to help others. But if Chasing Rain hopes, I don't care, but you are a moral kidnapping, Little Fish. I have always disliked you, Little Fish. Fate slapped the table and stood up to criticize Little Fish. Light, justice, dedicating everything to the organization. Hello Little Fish, great light, justice, a model of Wei Guangzheng, and a gentle and kind person. Perhaps there is no one in the world who is kinder than you, but do you think I am praising you? No, I actually hate you the most. Little Fish, you are really gentle, but don't you know that gentleness is a derogatory term? Fate couldn't help but sneer. I say you're great, you're gentle and kind, you think I'm praising you. Laugh to death, I hate you the most. Fate's gaze was unusually cold at this moment, and she despised people like Xiaoyu the most. What did you ultimately gain from dedicating everything to the organization? The person known as a hero collapsed so easily. People say you are a gentleman, but I think you are a hypocrite. People say you are selfish, and there is no such thing as unselfish people. I will never allow people like Xiaoyu to exist. I have always hoped that you could die early, but you finally died, and now you are still lingering. I have always hoped that everyone can achieve happiness, and I have always believed in light and justice. The little fish gritted its teeth, clenched its fist, and glared at fate angrily. I used to believe in justice so much. Little Fish never doubted justice from beginning to end, but whether or not he believed it after his death was meaningless in itself. Before his death, the little fish had been feeding everyone and working hard to make everyone happy. He lobbied for world unity everywhere, but there was no result. In the end, he could only rely on absolute force to unify the world and see the birth of the Great Harmony World. The organization has been secretly watching to maintain the Great Harmony World, but from beginning to end, fate has been playing a role in it. Little Fish didn't understand why fate had such great malice towards him, and he hated fate to the death. The life of a little fish is a life of fighting against fate. Unfinished to be continued. Chapter 5. Zhou Yun. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In short, I hope you understand, Chase Rain, you are someone favored by fate, you can accomplish many things, and you can go further than me. I have always hoped that you can be a kind person, as long as you have love in your heart, I can rest assured. Xiao Yu just wanted Chase Rain to understand the meaning of love. The greater the ability, the greater the responsibility, Xiao Yu has always believed that. Chasing Rain, if a person has love in their heart, then they are perfect. On the contrary, if there is no love in their heart, whether they choose war or peace, no matter what choice they make, things will inevitably develop in a bad way. I have witnessed a world full of sadness, and I spent my entire life to make the great harmony world come true in my lifetime. A person without love, no matter what choice they make, things will get worse and worse. In the end, having such a powerful existence will only become a catastrophe for the world. The little fish lowered his head, with a mournful voice. Only with love in his heart, chasing the rain. Xiao Yu knew that her voice could not reach anyone's heart. From the past, she had been alone in praising her love, and no one was moved. In the end, it was just self-moving. Even the unification of the world is not achieved through love, but through absolute force. That was a world unification war stirred up by love in the heart, so Xiao Yu told Chasing Rain, as long as there is love in the heart, war and peace are correct. Without love in the heart, war and peace are meaningless. Love can defeat everything, love can even defeat fate. Fate naturally understood, but sneered, but in the end, it seems that everyone doesn't believe what you say about love, little fish. Otherwise, you would have defeated me long ago. You were born without it. It's obvious, little fish, that you ultimately face a world without love. Destiny couldn't help but sneer at Xiao Yu. You also said that without love, everything is meaningless. Yes, without love, the unity of the world is actually meaningless. Xiao Yu, the world you established as a result is ultimately meaningless, a sad world that is fundamentally different from before, without any change. So from the beginning, Xiao Yu, you failed, and all of this was fate. The sorrow of the secular world that cannot be cut off. Speaking of this, fate felt happy. Breaking down the beliefs of such blind believers in justice like you and others, watching those shining eyes die with despair, is really refreshing. Ha ha ha, duh. Fate, you're such a jerk. The little fish shook its head slightly. You can just show off your eloquence to me now, and I've heard that you can't last long to resurrect yourself with a corpse, can you? You'll still die where you want to die, little fish, and this world is still sad. It's always like this, you haven't achieved anything, love. It's just a lie. Fate sneers at love, because there has never been a degree of love in this world that can crush fate, never. Anyway, my goal has also been achieved. Chasing Rain, you can have a good conversation with fate. Little fish stood up and left, feeling that arguing with fate was meaningless because fate viewed people as mere ants from beginning to end, convincing fate. How could it be? The three of Xiao Yu left, and Zhou Yun and Chasing Rain shook hands. Although this body is Zhou Yun's body, most of the time it is my fate that dominates. Chasing Rain, don't listen to Xiao Yu's nonsense. That guy is a loser. Can you believe what the loser says? I can't believe it. Fate, why do you favor people like me? Chasing Rain didn't understand. Because I like it. Do you need any other reason? No need. Fate is proud. I am the law, and everything in the world can only be influenced by my personal likes and dislikes. Those who deny me are simply jealous of me, the kind who says grapes are sour when they can't eat them, including little fish. Fate tells Chasing Rain, as fate, people don't actually hate me. They simply resent the fact that I didn't care for them. Therefore, they can only be powerless and furious, saying that fate is sour grapes and so on. What should I do, being blessed by fate? Chasing Rain didn't understand. Everything is as usual, do whatever you want. I have always been caring for you, and no one can stop you. Fate is very indulgent in Chasing Rain. Xiao Yu and the others returned home, and Xiao Yu opened the computer to load the old data document. I don't have much time left, I have to hurry up and process the files. For a moment, Xiao Yu quickly typed the keyboard, and the computer screen flickered rapidly. Xiao Yu's processing speed made chasing shadow dizzy. Endless spirit. The little fish stopped typing on the keyboard and dialed the phone. Endless spirit. Are you? Find a location in the group, come and locate it, hurry. Xiao Yu hung up the phone. Not long after, a rabbit-eared girl arrived at Xiao Yu's house, but Xiao Yu's head didn't respond. You kept some information about reincarnation, didn't you? Bring it, I want to take a look now. And the rabbit-eared girl looks very similar to the first generation in terms of appearance and temperament, except for gender. Isn't the first generation a man? This beautiful girl is. Although puzzled, the small fish's aura was too strong, and the desperate Holy Spirit habitually handed over the information. Xiao Yu quickly flipped through the materials. 50, 80, 84, hee. Returning the information to the desperate Holy Spirit, the little fish lowered its head and pondered, I don't think it's a problem either. Where is the problem? Until noon, the four of them were having lunch. Asatos and the desperate Holy Spirit gossip about Zhou Yun and chasing rain. Arthas. Have you heard that fate favors chasing the rain? I always feel like you have a strong opinion. Ah. Can we not discuss it without discussing it? Wow, little fish, you are truly a person who pursues love, Asatos clapped his hands and said, but I heard that this world is too shy to talk about love. It's forbidden to talk about things related to love, Didn't you just say that? The little fish went crazy. Ah. Is that right? I'm a fool, I don't quite understand that, Asatos chuckled. Ha, I'm also a fool, I don't understand anything. The little fish laughed along. Watching the little fish and Asatos laughing, the chasing shadow and the endless spirit also burst into laughter. For a moment, four people in the kitchen laughed heartily. By the way, what are we laughing at? The desperate Holy Spirit asked the shadow chaser. Who knows, just laugh and it's done. Chasing shadow didn't understand either. Unfinished to be continued. Chapter 6. Glare. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Guangguang, the savior who once saved the world, has iterated for many generations now. It's not right to act recklessly, Xuanguang reminded Long Wujie. You can't change the script of the play where the hero defeats the evil dragon, Long Wujie. Yes. Long Wujie nodded and said, I won't be able to make any changes. During the rehearsal of the drama in the drama club that day, Xian Guang always felt that the script was still incorrect. Why did a brave warrior become a dragon again, even though it was a story of an ordinary warrior defeating a dragon and saving a princess? Long Wujie, you said you wouldn't change the script recklessly. Isn't this a very obvious act of flattery and insincerity? Xian Guang crossed his hands and exhaled. Yes. Long Wujie nodded and said, I won't make any further changes. And what kind of dark script are you? Why did the brave eventually turn into a dragon? Xian Guang still didn't understand. But the dragon slayer eventually becomes a dragon, isn't he? Long Wujie felt that she was right. Ah. It's really fake. Xian Guang expressed shock. Anyway, this script is not good, you can rewrite it. Xian Guang rejected Long Wujie's script. Then write a love story about the petite daughter of a capitalist and the righteous youth of a government agency. Long Wujie was full of confidence and said, it will sell well. Wow, You can't even mention it. Don't always think about making big news, Long Wujie. Xian Guang was frightened by Long Wujie's terrible idea. You can offend, but you can't offend. Isn't this all at once? Is there anyone who can offend me? Long Wujie was curious. No. Don't say anything more. Okay, I understand now. Can we use your script of the brave warrior saving the princess, so don't write any more strange scripts? Xuanguang had to compromise. In the rehearsal of the play that day, the brave defeated the dragon and saved the princess. Well, so far the script has been quite normal, and the hero played by the dazzling light breathed a sigh of relief. Wow, hero, thank you for saving me. I want to give you a child. The princess thanked the hero. Puff. The little fish watching the rehearsal of the play downstairs just took a sip of coffee and sprayed it out. Is this princess's brain okay? It can't be like this. Yeah, Long Wujie, your script is too chaotic, all kinds of magic modifications. Xian Guang and Long Wujie, who played the princess, whispered to each other. No problem, let me improvise. Long Wujie was full of confidence, keep going. Oh, it's not too late, brave warrior. Let's start now. The princess played by Long Wujie pounced on the brave warrior. Hey! What's going on? Xuanguang panicked. This princess is too cruel. The master cannot look. Chasing Shadow hurriedly covered the little fish's eyes and said, this is too young to be suitable. Can't we play the process of creating a child? Long Wujie was shocked. I can't do it, but why are you so surprised that you don't have common sense? Zhou Yun is a quiet teenager, but now he has been forced into a barrage of roast by the shocking rehearsal of the play. What about kissing? Long Wujie asked. It's not possible either. Pursuing the movie felt like the scale was a bit too large. Kiss your face. Long Wujie stepped back. It's not possible either. Kissing is prohibited, please skip it directly. Chasing always felt that Long Wujie was too capable of causing trouble. Okay, then. Long Wujie let go of his dazzle and said, skip this scene and continue acting according to the script. Xuanguang continued to play according to the script. So, a few years later, the brave and the princess had more than 10 children. As the saying goes, the princess can give birth to what kind of devil script? Long Wujie said, wait, I also think there are too many children. Should we make some changes here? Let me improvise. Don't improvise anymore. Xian Guang was afraid of Long Wujie. The saying goes, fewer and better children, a happy life. In fact, the brave and the princess only gave birth to one little princess, and the little princess grew up happily. Long Wujie performed proudly. Wait, it's not about having fewer and better children now. What you're listening to is outdated news from hundreds of years ago. Xian Guang interrupted Long Wujie's words, actually, the brave and princess didn't give birth to one, they gave birth to two. 3 or 4. The audience was completely silent, and they were all overwhelmed by this play. Follow up. What kind of devil's play? The audience below was completely speechless by the thunder, while the hero and princess on stage were still discussing how many suitable ones to have. For a while, the play became almost like cross talk. Oh, come on, let's forget it. Children and grandchildren have their own blessings, and without them, I enjoy happiness. The princess played by Long Wujie gave up treatment and simply gave up. Why do princesses have to marry brave people? Is marriage the ultimate destination for women? No. I want to build a beautiful world, contribute to it, and contribute my strong strength to the organization's industry. Labor is the most glorious. Why are you suddenly so passionate? What's wrong with this script? Xuanguang said in silence. Brave. The princess played by Long Wujie shook off her gorgeous princess costume and transformed into a glorious worker wearing workwear and carrying a hammer. Actually, I already saw that you are the brave one who killed the dragon and became a new dragon, right? Ah. Xian Guang was surprised and didn't expect the script to be brought back. He continued to play now, since you found out, let's fight. Let's see your worker grandfather's hammer. Long Wujie performed very much like a female man. I'm going, you're really here. Xian Guang and Long Wujie started fighting on stage. She quickly disarmed Long Wujie's hammer, while Long Wujie grabbed the stage prop's knife and engaged it with the warrior's sword. Long Wujie. Dazzle. Dazzling. Dragon Wujie. For a moment, I only saw sword lights and shadows on the stage. The sword energy flew away, and chasing shadow was hit by the afterglow of the sword energy on his cheek, bleeding. Chasing shadow touched his face and said, "Blood. Is it true that Ni Meng came here? Why are they fighting with inexplicable passion?" And little fish watched the play mesmerizing on the side. A few minutes later, the sword battle was over, and Xuanguang and Long Wujie's clothes were all torn and tattered. Long Wujie said, You are actually a woman, and the brave are actually women. Is there this section in the script? Xian Guang was bewildered. Although she was a woman, she played the role of a hero who was a man. To be honest, I'm not interested in men. Long Wujie added various scenes to himself. Brave, are you very beautiful? I'm obsessed with you. Long Wujie ran towards the dazzling light. Wow, don't come over. Xuanguang fled directly. She chased and fled with her, and the story ended. So, the rehearsal for the stage play came to an end. This thing can barely end completely. Tracer couldn't help roast. It feels like it's been a long few tens of minutes. Little Fish always felt that this drama was full of flaws. And the other audience below couldn't bear it anymore. This drama is so terrible. Yeah, a refund. Refund. Although the audience did not buy tickets to enter the theater, and the drama club never sold tickets, at this moment, it is more about expressing the silence in their hearts. Xian Guang said, however, Long Wujie, your script is completely useless, in various meanings. Ah. Long Wujie was greatly shocked. I thought it would definitely sell well. Unfinished to be continued. Chapter 7. Long Wujie. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Beautiful everything, beautiful world, ha ha ha. Long Wujie stood on the rooftop of his square building, watching the noon sun. Long Wujie's home is a small one-story bungalow with overgrown weeds in the front yard and a fence in the backyard, which is larger than the front yard. There is a pear blossom tree that often blooms all year round in the backyard, which is very lush. Yu Yen. Chen Fa, who are you assisting? Set my shield and put me in a state. There will be 5 more kills on the other side. When Long Wujie arrived at the internet cafe, he heard Hanyan's roar. Chen Fa. I lost. Heal me quickly. Cover me with shields, cover me with shields. Chen Fa. Rabbit ear girl Yuyen looked at Chen Fa next to her and said, why don't you cover me with shields? Are you an auxiliary? What are you doing? The firepower on the other side is too strong, and I can hardly charge through. Even if I die, you can't survive. Okay, what are you doing? I'm shielding the shooter, I'm protecting him. Chen Fa explained. That shooter doesn't need protection, and your shield can't save such a fragile shooter. Can't you distinguish the importance of things? I'm the tank dad who can handle the most damage. Don't you put a shield on me and run to put a shield on the shooter. Do you know how to play? Roared Hanyan. Ultimately, it's because the 5 of us didn't gather together. If Shan, Hai Kong, and Fu Yin were all there, Chen Fa mainly felt that it was because there were not enough people, and the matching teammates were 2 pitfalls. Upon seeing this, Long Wujie silently turned on a machine next to her to watch a web drama. She also understood that if her teammates didn't come together, they would probably not win. There were indeed many teammates who were matched, and they were very pitfalls. Not long after, a rabbit girl wearing a wizard hat also arrived. It was the ghost rabbit of the organization. She opened a machine to play games and miraculously won. Long Wujie felt that this was very impressive. You're quite impressive, even a teammate who matches a person can win. It's just a stroke of luck. The ghost rabbit felt that it was indeed a stroke of luck to win. Although I am indeed strong, I do need my teammates to be present, otherwise it would be quite difficult to play. Who is your teammate? Long Wujie is not very familiar with Ghost Rabbit, although everyone is a colleague of the organization, he is indeed not very familiar. I have quite a few teammates. Sometimes I play double with Heng, sometimes I play double with Li Jie, and sometimes I play 5 black with the 4 of them, Xie, Hillfield, Sab, and Asatos. The Ghost Rabbit yawned and said, but none of them are here today. You're unexpectedly popular, your gaming skills should be very good. Long Wujie didn't expect that Ghost Rabbit had quite a few teammates. Not bad, The Ghost Rabbit laughed proudly. Abandoned urban areas, small fish continue to wander around in the abandoned urban areas. Asatos flashed past the little fish like a black mist and said, "You have been locked, little fish, be careful." Is that right? Are you locking onto me again? Those guys react so quickly, but unfortunately they don't understand love at all. If things go wrong, they will still go wrong. Even if I don't do anything, the world is hopeless. As fate has said. As a result, I lost, and fate won, and it was the kind of win thoroughly. Xiao Yu has given up saving the world. After all, Xiao Yu has just found that the world is just a playground for fate, and all living beings are chess pieces of fate. Don't you save the world, little fish. I'm already dead, and now it's just a brief respawn from the dead. Time is running out, and the world is not something that a fool like me can save. Little fish understood, I hate fate. I once tried to defeat it, and I've been working hard, but without love, it's impossible. Xiao Yu and Asatos looked at the abandoned urban area, which was an organized paradise. Xiao Yu could only do what he could to protect his subordinates, which was already his limit. Moon God Robotics Company, Xiao Yu contacted Zhou Yun and Zhang Yongyue, and the 3 of them gathered for a company meeting. Xiao Yu. How is the situation? Chasing rain. 1. Everything is as usual, master. Zhang Yongyue said, yes, nothing happened. Chasing rain, you are favored by fate, and the organization will continue to pay attention to you. Please be careful of the unpredictable nature of fate. In addition, as always, remember that only with love in your heart can you be omnipotent, with love in your heart, you can be omnipotent. Xiao Yu reminded Chasing Rain. Zhang Yongyue, as the general manager of the company, you need to take a good lead. Among the 3 of us, you have the best development prospects. Remember to be cautious of fate, that thing is too unpredictable and almost no one can control it. Xiao Yu warned Zhang Yongyue. Yes, master. Chasing Rain and Zhang Yongyue nodded. After the 3 of them, there was nothing to say, and the evader quietly drank coffee in the conference room. A cup of coffee bottomed out, and the little fish stood up and said, farewell. Then, Wei's home. Wei, said the little fish as she pushed open the open door. Wei was busy cutting vegetables in the kitchen, and when she heard the voice turn her head, she saw a girl who looked like a little fish in appearance and temperament. Girl. Are you, little fish? Wei put down her kitchen knife and walked over, feeling a bit incredulous. This body is my heir, my girlfriend who is chasing shadows. I was just briefly reviving her body with a corpse, and my time is running out. Little fish just wanted to take advantage of some time and come to meet his friends. Is she dead? Wei didn't quite understand. No, I said it's just that feeling, metaphor. The little fish walked into the kitchen and said, what are you doing? Let's do it together. Ordinary, just a home-cooked dish. It's also possible. The little fish is ready to help. The 2 of them were busy together in the kitchen, cutting vegetables and seasoning. They all say you're dead, but I've always believed that you'll definitely come back. I am indeed dead, and I am surprised that I can survive for a short time now, said the little fish seasoning. I can stir fry now. Wei lit the fire and prepared to stir fry. Chaser, there are guests. The guests were a sheep-horn girl exuding a cold and icy aura, and a girl wearing a patched sailor suit, originally ice sheep and black rabbit Zhou Yun. Zhou Yun said, I heard that Xiao Yu's consciousness has returned. Ice sheep. I've also heard that your soul is attached to your girlfriend. Chasing shadow. Temporary, that's temporary. What, it's a pity. If only the owner could stay forever, Bing Yang shook his head and said. When the owner died, I realized that many of the members of the organization had iterated, and many had iterated into beautiful girls. I became one of the few men in the organization, and it always felt like the organization was like my harem. Chasing shadow sometimes thought that way. No, that's impossible, Black Rabbit Zhou Yun and Ice Sheep waved their hands in unison. You've been overthinking it, chasing shadows. Black Rabbit Zhou Yun said, however, is there anything wrong with the master's return this time? Chasing Shadow and Ice Sheep looked at each other, both shaking their heads and saying, I don't know. Black Rabbit Zhou Yun said, you too. Unfinished to be continued. Chapter 8. No Love. You are listening at novelfull.audio. No Love, the existence of the cat tribe, one of the senior members of the organization. Xiao Yu remembers that it was thousands of years ago. Well, looking back doesn't make much sense. Chasing shadows to find the little fish, watching them take a walk in the abandoned city area, still holding a cigarette in their mouth and swallowing smoke. Master, you're smoking again. Chasing shadow ran over. Why, can't I still smoke? Or is this body underage? It's adult, right? But this is her body, she's not in good health. Oh, you care about her very much and like her very much, chasing shadow, how many years have you been with me? How many years have you been my subordinate? At least it's been hundreds or even thousands of years, said chasing shadow to Xiao Yu. Your girlfriend has only been together for a few days, has it been a week? No. Our friend of thousands of years, you've only been here for a few days. You've been criticizing me and your superiors for the sake of a woman, right? The little fish didn't extinguish his cigarette, just questioning the pursuer. Since you like her so much, let me ask you, what step can you take for her and die for her? Can you do it? With this realization, chasing shadow lowered his head. Xiao Yu finished smoking a cigarette and was about to take out his cigarette box and lighter. After hearing what chasing shadow said, he put away his cigarette box and lighter and said, okay, I will be careful in the future and try not to smoke. Sorry, master. You do need to feel sorry, chasing shadow. Smoking is one of my few hobbies, and you even have to worry about me. You know I hate people meddling in me the most. Xiao Yu sighed lightly and patted chasing shadow's shoulder. This is a good girl, I won't occupy her body for too long. After I leave, you should treat her well. Yes, master. Chasing shadow also believes that having such a girlfriend is his luck. Actually, these are all small matters. I won't have much time to revive this time, so I'll just say it bluntly. Pursue the shadows, fight with me. Xiao Yu put on his martial arts posture and said, get ready. Chasing shadow quickly clenched his fist and said, come on. In an instant, Xiao Yu and chasing shadow rushed towards each other, and the two quickly clashed. 2 minutes later, chasing shadow was punched by a small fish and flew several meters away. He tried hard to get up, but couldn't make it and fell down, unable to get up again. Overall, there's no problem with you, but your attack moves are too ordinary. The little fish walked over and reached out to pull up chasing shadow. The power is good, but the moves are slightly lacking. What should I do to become stronger, master? Chasing Shadow really didn't know how to become stronger. Let's go buy some apples, suggested the little fish. Hey! Why go buy an apple? Tracing the movie felt like Xiaoyu's thinking was too jumping. Because, 1 apple a day keeps the doctor away from me, little fish told the pursuer, apples are very nutritious, probably. In the internet cafe, Xiaoyu and Zhou Yun each held a paper bag of apples and nibbled on it, watching others play games. And watching a wizard perform the entire scene, the skillful operation is astonishing. Xiaoyu. You can cut so much meat from the tank on the other side, it's amazing. Because the Dharma is strong and powerful, and there is also a way to dress, the girl replied. I remember when I used to play, the meat content of the opposing tank was so desperate that I couldn't even move it. Xiao Yu compared this and felt that the girl's operational awareness was too good. Thank you for your praise. The girl closed the game and started watching TV. Zhou Yun remembered that this girl was from Yujianzhu. They usually played games in teams of 4, and the remaining 3 were Yi Baiyan, Shitong Tian, and Kanjiangxing. Xiao Yu opened a machine next to Yuejian and sat down, placing the paper bag within her easy reach. Apples, I can't finish them all by myself, she said, thank you. Yu Jian took an apple and nibbled on it, watching TV. Master, I heard you're back. I didn't expect you to actually come back. Is your soul still on this body? Yes, but it won't be long. Xiaoyu and Yuejian exchanged a few pleasantries, take any apple you like, and I'll talk to Chasing Shadow. Sorry for the inconvenience. Yujian nodded and continued watching TV. Chasing Shadow sat on the right side of Xiaoyu and said, why don't we play a game too, master? Forget it, the matched teammates are very disappointing. Xiaoyu thought it was still not good. Come and play with me, master, I want to have some fun. Chasing Shadow insisted on playing in pairs with Xiaoyu. There's no way, little fish and Chasing Shadow are in double rows. I was sure to lose that game, but 2 of my teammates were too awesome. After a round, the 2 girls sitting next to each other and the little fish greet each other. Upon seeing it, Xiaoyu realized it was Long Xiao and Baing. Xiaoyu heard that they were part of a group of 4, with the remaining 2 being Bingju and Qingyu. Basically, the 4 of them can lead one person to lie down and score, but today we only relied on the 2 of them to win. Xiaoyu thinks they are also quite impressive. It seems that this game is not difficult either, said Chasing Shadow proudly. Little fish, take a look at the results. Xiaoyu. August 7th, 22 follow-up. 0/4/14, don't you rely on your teammates to fly on the 4th parallel bar. Why are you so proud of yourself? Xiaoyu couldn't resist roast. However, to put it bluntly, Xiaoyu doesn't feel that the shadow chasing was sent too far. If he deliberately sends it and creates a teammate mentality, then this one is likely to really collapse. Then, Xiaoyu saw that the time was almost up and directly sent a group message and location. I'll treat you to dinner. That night, there were 3 or 4 people sitting at Wei's house. Xiaoyu and Wei are busy in the kitchen. Isn't your home too small? Little Fish always felt like there were only 30 or 40 people crowded together, so there was no place to move all 300 or 400 heroes. Wei had almost nothing to say because her home was already so small. Isn't it the most suitable hotel for treating guests to dinner? I just think it would be more cozy to be at Wei's house, wouldn't it? Little Fish asked Wei cautiously. Also, it's not impossible. Wei and Xiaoyu were busy cutting and stir-frying vegetables in the kitchen. It's been a long time since they were so lively. To be honest, Wei was quite happy. I remember the last time I was so happy was during the last reincarnation of the Autumn Banquet. The Autumn Banquet hosted by Xiaoyu also lasted for several days and nights, and almost all the heroes who could cook were mobilized. Wei remembers that Xiaoyu was preparing the Autumn Banquet to help the heroes gain more weight and energy, but Wei thought that the heroes were not hibernating animals, so there was no need to gain weight just to survive the winter. However, the banquet itself was quite successful, and it was also considered a simple harvest celebration. Having been busy all night, Xiao Yu and Wei finally calmed down after finishing everything in the kitchen. The bowl is washed. The little fish wiped his hands with an apron. Thank you, little fish. Wei came out of the bathroom, and the hot water in the bathtub was ready to wash together. Is that okay? Little fish asked habitually. They're all girls, what's not allowed? Vila led the little fish into the bathroom. That night, Xiao Yu and Wei were lying back to back in bed. Xiao Yu was still worried and said, Wei, violent, I should have been with you for the last time. No, it's just me being capricious. Everything is fate's fault. Wei also has regrets about what happened back then, and has a strong opinion about fate interfering with it. Wei also hates fate very much. If it weren't for fate, everything wouldn't have been so bad. Fortunately, now that Xiao Yu has briefly regained her soul, Wei has also received some comfort. Will you still leave, little fish? Wei didn't want little fish to leave. I am the deceased, I should not have been attached to the secular world anymore. Xiao Yu felt that although he had died not long ago, everything in the organization seemed to have been woven up a lot. If it weren't for fate, everything wouldn't have been. It's all fate's fault. Unfinished to be continued. Chapter 9. Qingsha. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Seeking answers from within, without relying on anyone, anything, or anything. Xiao Yu closed his eyes and pondered in the abandoned urban area. After Qi Yu, on the Dragon Ridge, on the Divine Eye. The little fish slowly opened his eyes and said, it's surprisingly difficult to cultivate. It tests one's composure too much. I remember many years ago, Xiao Yu taught Qingsha the method of cultivating immortality, and as a result, Qingsha became an immortal while Xiao Yu was still a mortal. It can be seen that the method itself is not a problem, and Xiao Yu guesses that it is indeed due to poor self-composure that he cannot calm down. The method is right, calm down. Let go of all distractions, persistence. Let go. The little fish kept reminding himself to let go of everything. In theory, true spiritual enlightenment is also possible. As the saying goes, 1 year becomes a god, and 1 thought becomes a demon, in the blink of an eye, everything becomes a realization. Let go of everything, seek answers from within, let go of everything, seek answers from within. The little fish kept reminding himself. In a world without love, relying on all external people, things, and things is wrong, and one can only abandon everything and seek answers internally, the essence of fate, the essence of us, is. The construction of the arena, Xiao Yu, has been completed. Qingsha found Xiao Yu and reported on the organization's recent situation. In order to survive, we have been fighting all along. In a world where we speak with our strength, we must become the most powerful beings. Words cannot unify the world, words cannot bring harmony to the world, we can only use absolute strength to subdue the world. Xiao Yu always understood. Regardless of war or peace, the rise and fall of the world will bring suffering to the people, the fall will bring suffering to the people, no matter how difficult it may be, it will always be the people. A world without love, war and peace themselves are meaningless. What we have seen before is a world of estrangement, and it was not easy to unify the world so that a world of great harmony can emerge in our lifetime. But as fate said, without love, will the essence of the world be unified or not? Essentially, it is still the same as before, a world full of sorrow. Since the little fish burned to ashes in the duel with fate, he came to see everyone in the organization after a brief revival, only to find that everything was still the same, the cycle of sadness and pain, and the endless sadness. In the end, these hands were unable to protect anything, and the justice they had always insisted on. Little fish felt a bit confused and said, I used to believe in justice so much. Master, I apply to duel with you. Qingsha requested. Dueling. Sure. Little Fish has always hoped that his subordinates can become stronger, and fighting is the most effective way to enhance their strength. Before that, I will go to the internet cafe to play a game. Xiao Yu is quite free-spirited, after all, I don't know when it started. Xiao Yu's meaning in life is simply to pass the time until death arrives. After all, life is short, why not live for your own happiness? Living to care about others' marriage, divorce, and how many births. Xiao Yu doesn't want to say anything more. In the first half of his life, the little fish lived for justice and sacrificed everything for it, resulting in only an empty victory and a world still filled with sorrow. The little fish persisted in justice until death, justice itself, whether right or wrong, if you are willing to do so. We dedicate everything to justice, but why is the world still full of sorrow? So little fish understood that both justice and fate cannot compete with the power of love. Without love, no matter what, things will still develop in a bad direction, and that has always been the case. Unfortunately, little fish found out too late, and even though the little fish now knows that love is everything, they can't do anything, nothing, I can only watch helplessly as everything sad happens. Everything was like a horse lantern, stumbling and bumping, but ultimately it turned back to its original point. The sprinter who ran from the starting line towards the finish line only achieved an empty victory. In the internet cafe, Xiao Yu couldn't help but yawn as she watched the web drama. No one cared about what the drama was playing, it was just playing. Xiao Yu liked the sense of life that the web drama was playing, and as for what the content was, who cared? Without love, everything we do is in vain, as the saying goes, it is a world-class cycle of sadness and destiny. Abandoned urban areas and gladiatorial arenas, Xiao Yu and Qingsha confront each other. Xian Guang and Long Wujie heard of a duel and came to watch. Let's take a look at Li Xiaoyu, a bespectacled girl with a black suit and red tie, and Qingsha, a cat girl wearing a green cat ear cloak. As the two sides faced off, Qingsha conjured up a sharp sword, which was pitch black and looked like a sharp single-edged sword with saw-like serrations on its back, resembling a black iron sword of a military dagger. Xiao Yu remembers that Qingsha's sword is called Black Iron Saw. Black Iron Saw, Xiao Yu has always loved Qingsha's sword, and Xiao Yu has also had the opportunity to borrow her sword. Black Iron Saw looks like a slender sword, which feels a bit light, but unexpectedly feels a bit heavy. This sword has blown hair and cut iron like mud, which is incredibly hard but not very elastic. Although it is not elastic, it is very hard, causing moves such as weapon destruction to be completely ineffective. In addition, due to its sufficient hardness and almost no elasticity, Qingsha's sword cannot deliver dazzling attacks like a soft sword, and its moves tend to be more precise. Even so, it should not be underestimated. Qingsha is one of the experts in the organization and can be considered a frontline hero among the entire organization. By the way, Chasing Shadow and Chasing Rain are basically at the combat level of the second and third lines, while Xiao Yu belongs to the level of the top line. To be precise, this sword is not called the Black Iron Saw, but is named Mint. Qingsha prepared, 5, 10, start. In an instant, Qingsha wielded her sword and flashed to the small fish, piercing it with a sword. Little fish urgently dodges. For a moment, I only saw Qingsha dancing her sword at full speed, piercing and chopping vertically with a slanted upward slash. Although the attack method was monotonous, its speed was fast and the attack control was precise, without any unnecessary movements. Every time the attack missed, she quickly collected and changed her moves without any unnecessary movements. The next move has already been taken. For a few seconds and $15, the little fish could only dodge with all its might before barely coping. Trial completed, energy radiating. Red inflammation. Qingsha quickly turned the energy channel arm of the energy core and made a vertical slash on the transmission channel sword. The fiery sword chi burst out. The little fish sidestepped and dodged the sword energy, while Qingsha had already bullied himself and prepared to take a knife. Flat cut. The little fish slipped and dodged, then darted back with an arrow step, instantly hitting Qingsha with a punch. "It's a dodge counterattack," exclaimed Long Wujie, who was watching the battle. Long Wujie had heard that many fighting heroes would dodge counterattacks and be able to quickly dodge attacks before rushing back to counterattack. Bang! Zhou Yun punched Qingsha with one punch, quickly pursued with one punch, left hand, left straight punch, hit face. "Get out of here." Qingsha was punched, and as soon as she saw Zhou Yun punching her face again, Qingsha tilted her head and dodged the straight punch, followed by a shoulder bump that drove Zhou Yun away. Exciting. Dazzlingly slapped his thigh, these two people react so quickly. Unfinished to be continued. Chapter 10. Chasing Rain. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At the moment when the little fish was knocked away, it stabilized and stood still, chasing the rain. Chasing Rain flashed, swiftly attacking Qingsha with a punch. However, Qingsha, who was advancing to attack Zhou Yun, was blocked by Chasing Rain. He lowered his body to avoid Chasing Rain's punch, and in an instant, his sharp sword flipped over and pierced Chasing Rain's abdomen, radiating energy. Crystal. In just a moment, Chasing Rain's body was covered with a thick layer of red crystals, like a crystal cage like a ruby. But Qingsha reacted quickly, and in the moment when Jinghua chased after the rain, she twisted her body, drew her sword, and kicked the crystal sculpture, flying and smashing it like a little fish. Sleeping slot. Aha! Zhou Yun was caught off guard by Qingsha's attack and was hit by a crystal sculpture on the spot. The crystal burst, and the little fish and Chasing Rain were knocked out. Xian Guang said, "It's like playing bowling." Long Wujie said, "Really?" The two spectators watched as little fish and Chasing Rain fell to the ground. Zhou Yun raised his hand and said, "Give up, give up." On that day, Zhou Yun invited Zhou Yun to drink coffee. "That's really outrageous, master. When you called me over, I was beaten up and flew away. Did you call me over and get beaten up?" Chasing Rain was called up and didn't hit a punch before being stabbed and frozen by a knife, and then kicked out. Everything happened too quickly, and little fish and Chasing Rain were both confused for a long time. At the end of the day, Qingsha's reaction was too fast. The little fish didn't recover for a long time. In the moment of being knocked away, it summoned to chase after the rain, but suddenly Qingsha countered and a crystal sculpture hit it. "Actually, my original plan was to summon you to restrain Qingsha, and then summon Zhang Yongyue and the three of us to attack her. If Zhang Yongyue calls for Linglong sniper support again, we will be stable." Zhou Yun's original plan was like that, but he didn't expect to be defeated by Qingsha before he could react. "It's not good to fight others in a group, master." Chasing Rain always felt that the duel should be a fair and straightforward one between the two. "Are you joking? Although it's a group fight, it's just a group fight. Zhou Yun still prefers quantity suppression. A just brawl." Chasing Rain didn't quite understand. Zhou Yun came to find Zhou Yun and saw a small fish. "I want to talk to Zhou Yun alone." Zhou Yun's meaning is very obvious. "I am the protagonist." Zhou Yun gave Zhou Yun a cold look. "Who cares?" Zhou Yun replied with a cold eye. "Okay, you won." The little fish stood up and left. Zhou Yun pulled Chasing Rain in the opposite direction and walked for a while before stopping. "Chasing Rain, what do you think of Zhou Yun?" "My master is my benefactor," a benefactor in various meanings. She unified the world and enabled the realization of the Great Harmony World. In order to maintain the Great Harmony World, she guarded this world for a lifetime and never gave up until death. She is the most just, gentle, and kind person. Chasing Rain has always believed so. Justice. You were deceived. Justice without love is just an empty shell, and you have been living in lies. Zhou Yun didn't think so. I won't doubt my master. Is that true? Is the justice you firmly believe in true justice? The world is a cycle of sadness, always like this, without any change. Do you think that many things are truly the simple opposition of war and peace? Do you think that the good you think is really good, and that the evil you think is really evil? Who told you? Did someone tell you, or did you witness it yourself? Destiny asks Chasing Rain. I don't understand. Chasing Rain never thought about these complex issues, and thinking about these issues is meaningless. Meaningless. That's true, but Chasing Rain, I just want to tell you that justice is a lie, you have been deceived. Fate reminds Chasing Rain. But the master has always believed in justice and practiced it, Chasing Rain wanted to refute. Really? Do you really think so? Fate just asked Chasing Rain in reverse. Question: when the little fish chooses between justice and you, what do you think he will choose? He will choose justice, but you will be abandoned, although he is for justice. If you are abandoned, as an abandoned child, are you willing? You're stirring up a relationship between me and my master, Chase. You understood. Provoking. I just opened up the issue between you. You've been avoiding this possibility, but you know it better than anyone else, don't you? Everything you care about has never cared about you, hasn't it? And in the end, you have to sacrifice for everything that doesn't care about you, just an empty name of justice. Is this justice? Is this fairness? And, what is justice? Who defines it? Is justice really justice? Fate disdains justice, and despises the little fish who has always adhered to it to the extreme. The world is full of sorrow, and true justice is a pure white land without sorrow. By comparison, do you still think that you are not living in lies? Fate tells Chasing Rain not to believe in little fish, and never to believe in little fish's words of justice. This is a world of eternal sorrow, always like this. Whether in the past, present, or future, there will be no change, fundamentally. No, I want to confront the master face. Face, if he says that. Chasing Rain didn't believe it, but she still planned to ask Xiao Yu for clarification. On that day, while playing games at the internet cafe, Xiao Yu chased Rain and sat next to Xiao Yu, saying, "Master, fate has told me a lot. She said that justice is a lie, and if you live with someone, you will deny it, right? Because what you have always insisted on is justice." Xiao Yu remained silent. The game hung up, and he directly exited the game to open the web drama. He lit a cigarette and pondered. Xiao Yu. About 10 minutes later, the little fish spoke and said, "Fool, of course I have always believed in justice, I have seen the prosperity of others, and I have also fallen into the dust. I understand that I have always believed in justice, but these are not important. What is important is love, it is love, chasing the rain. Love." Chasing Rain never understood, and little fish could see that Chasing Rain didn't understand what love was. Little fish knows that Chasing Rain, this child, has been completely destroyed since some time ago. It is just an empty shell with nothing inside, and there is no fundamental difference from the common people. Xiao Yu also understood that when Chasing Rain asked herself, she didn't want an answer, but wanted to acknowledge it. Perhaps she herself was unaware that she was subconsciously seeking redemption from the little fish. But little fish also understands that true redemption is not rooted in fate and justice, but in love. A world that is ashamed to talk about love cannot conceive love, or it is far from being able to conceive love that can break fate and change the law. The world is full of sadness, and it has always been like this. Without love, nothing can be done. Without love, nothing can be done. Without love, no matter what, everything will go to destruction. This is an inevitable curse. The little fish understands that the cycle of the universe is like that, and the end of the cycle is destruction, which is the law of the universe. But love can change everything. But love is not here. Love has never been born, never. Regarding love, this is an extremely beautiful legend, but no one can achieve it, no one can obtain true love. Ultimately, in a world without love, everyone is a loser. It's a pity that only love can change everything. Unfinished to be continued.